Time is 11:34. You're tuned into the mid-morning talk with me, Fazila Isaac, on Salam Media. We are now joined by entrepreneur and American-born revert Muslim who's now living in the UK, Victoria Matesky. Assalamu alaikum, Victoria.
Walaikum salam. Good morning. It's so good to be here with you, Fazila.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to hear of your journey to coming into Deen, inshallah. Let's start with you. What was life like before the Islam came into your life? What was this like for you?
Okay, so thinking about my life before Islam, and now I've had a lot of time to reflect on it, being Muslim now for almost 6 years. But I'll take you back to when I was a little girl. Okay, when I was 5 years old, I used to literally look out the window and pray to the clouds. And I knew that God was there, and He was listening to me. And little did I know that was the fitra inside of me. Uh, I never imagined that one day I would grow up and God would speak to me through the Quran. So, in other words, growing up through my life, I always had a pull towards God completely. And I grew up in a very non religious home, completely with a single mom in the heartland of America. And I literally did not know one single Muslim at all my entire life growing up. So, my only exposure to religion was that my mother, may Allah bless her, would not allow me to take the Lord's name in vain. And so she was a pretty easygoing mom, but I knew it must be something important about God for that to have that role. So I grew up and I encountered, like a lot of people do, a whirlwind of experiences. And I had a lot of pain and loss. I lost my mother at a very young age. I was 15 when she passed away. And I became a mother very young myself. And I started to lean into that longing for connection with God that I always had since I was a little girl. And I eventually became a Christian. So I got very involved in the Christian church, the Catholic church, and I felt that maybe I'd found my answer. And little did I know that I actually started to kind of become confused and uncomfortable with certain aspects of the Christian church. And I remember one particular Christmas, and anyone who's listening who knows Christians or was a Christian, they had this baby Jesus on stage, and he was in a manger, and everybody was raising their hands and worshiping him. And I had to literally run out of the church because I couldn't understand that. I was feeling uncomfortable why everybody was worshiping this human. It just didn't feel right. So little did I know, like this journey, like the seed of Islam was growing in me, even though I had no idea about the faith. So that's a little bit about me before Islam.
And what inspired you to actually enter the fold of Islam?
Oof. Okay. Well, if I were to go back to the beginning, I was sitting with some friends and we were speaking about Islam, and I realized I literally knew nothing. I was completely ignorant. I only knew what the media had told me about Muslims and Islam, and I had no clue what even Muslims believed, that there was one God, 10 gods. So instead of believing all the negative rhetoric, I decided to go to the bookstore and I said, I'm going to find a book on Islam. And I went to the bookstore and there was three books on the shelf, I remember, and two of them were anti-Islamic, and the third one was an English translation of the Quran. And I bought the Quran, I came home and I opened it up, and it was the cow. And I could not put it down for 3 days. I could not believe that I had been so misled for so many years and had no idea. It really completely captured my heart. That was the beginning that inspired me to study and go into Islam.
I think it's so beautiful when we get that inspiration straight from Allah. Some people just can't. It's inexplainable. You sit there and you're like, where did this come from? That inclination really, really just it's so strong, and you are nothing more than to just take that journey, which is so beautiful and inspiring. And you know, um, being an American and then reverting to Islam must have posed a few challenges. What are some of these challenges that you've had to go through?
Oof. Okay, so some of the challenges. Well, while choosing Islam has been one of the best decisions of my entire life, it's given me complete purpose and direction. It's beautiful. It comes with letting go what no longer serves you. And when you grow up in the West, especially in America, we live in a culture that is almost completely opposite of our faith. And
Mhm.
you have to let those things go. So, like embracing a sense of modesty, embracing an entirely new language, and letting go. Like women in the West, we're raised to believe that we have to please everybody. We have to walk into a room and everyone has to like us, including the men. And if you're
Mm.
not liked, and if you're not smiling, and if you're not cordial, then you're not worthy. And so uh, I had to erase that. I had to let all that go. That was probably the most difficult thing for me, but probably the most rewarding.
Yeah. And how has the journey been thus far?
Oof. Okay, so uh, I'll be really honest. The journey as a Muslim over the last 6 years has been tumultuous.
Mm.
I'll use an analogy. I'll use a sandwich. Okay, so
Mm.
if you can imagine a sandwich with three layers, and imagine this sandwich has the most amazing bread, your favorite bread in the world. Okay, and then it has a filling that you didn't quite like or expect. So it started off with passion, excitement. People are rooting for me. They're helping me. It's incredible, right? And then I get to the filling, and I had believed with a little naivety that all Muslims were kind and compassionate and full of integrity. But reality hit me very hard that while our
Mm.
faith is absolutely beautiful, not necessarily all Muslims are. And I really believe that Muslim reverts tend to be vulnerable. And I realized that there were people out there that wanted to take advantage of us. And my heart and spirit became very hurt. And I'll get to the last part of the sandwich was the other side of the bread was I began to pray to Allah to not harden my heart based on these people that I had encountered, because I knew there was more to my faith than what I experienced. And this this experiences, this difficulty actually made my faith stronger. And little did I know, it pushed me and actually became the nemesis of the work I do today as a relationship coach for Muslims. So Allah has a plan in everything. And it was definitely a ride. Still to
A
this.
100%. I think we plan and Allah plans better. We just gotta accept the plan as it comes. And it's a lesson for everybody to understand that, Islam is perfect, but people are not. It takes a
Absolutely.
lot to actually get to that point. And the nice thing is that you are able to realize that and work on that as well as a person, as an individual yourself, which is really, really great, because we don't want it to be such that people come into the religion and then are put off purely by the actions of other people. It's just counterproductive for everybody involved. So I love the fact that, you stood firm on this and you kept it moving. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you great rewards for the sacrifices that you have made coming through this, inshallah. The interesting thing with a lot of, I guess, who are reverts is the reaction of their family when they do actually become Muslim. How did your family and friends react to your reversion?
Okay, so I have, alhamdulillah, three beautiful adult children. And I was a single woman when I embraced Islam. And I first studied and practiced Islam for an entire year before I took my Shahada. And at the time, my children were quite supportive because, mashallah, they're very smart, they're wise, and they're open to learning new things. So that was beautiful. But one of the things that I really wish I had realized at the time is because when you're entering this faith, you're so excited, you're so full of, that drive to learn and to embody everything you're learning. Is that these people aren't on the same journey with you. You have to be patient with them. And you may have discovered this new faith, but they're not there with you. They don't understand the process and they're not going along with it with you. So while my family was very supportive, looking back, I wish I would have been a little more gentle with them and not had tried to push so much on them at the same time I was trying to onboard it.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of patience and a lot of time. But whenever we make changes in our lives, we kind of have that expectation that other people should accept
Yes.
our changes. Yeah, so it does pose a bit of a problem. But how is your family taking it now, though? Now that you've been here for 6 years, I'm sure they're a little bit more accepting. Yeah.
Yeah, they actually are. And, they still celebrate things like Christmas, and they know I don't celebrate it. And they know when Eid comes along. especially Ramadan. When I was living in America, my children are back in America. I visit there quite often, but they would walk on sunset walks with me before iftar. They would prepare iftar for me with me. My daughter, actually, who is almost 27 now, mashallah, she actually supported me on the day of my shahada, and she went to the
Oh,
mosque with me and
mashallah.
wore hijab and stood next to me. It was so supportive and beautiful. So I am very blessed and lucky to have such great children. Even now, they know when Ramadan's coming. They call me, "How's your fast going?" And beautiful. And they've learned, how to say inshallah and alhamdulillah, and it's beautiful. I love it.
Oh, I love the support that you get from your kids. That is so beautiful. Shalom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to keep them this way and as supportive as they are. Alhamdulillah, you're so lucky. Not everybody has that support system. It's quite difficult for most people. We're going to take a quick short ad break, Victoria, but when we come back, I'd love to speak about the support that you have received from the Muslim community. I know we did touch on some of the challenges, but I'd also love to hear about the support that you've actually received from them. We'll do this straight after the break. Stay tuned.
This is Salam Media. Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Online schooling? Why not? Kurtuba Online Academy is the leading global online Islamic school from grade R to matric, offering South African caps and international syllabus. And it doesn't stop there. We also offer online madrasa for every grade. For more information, visit www.kurtubaonline.co.za. Kurtuba Online Academy, the leading global online Islamic school.
Decades of war, devastating drought, and economic collapse have pushed the Afghan people to the edge of survival. 24 million need life-saving aid, and 5 million children are knocking on famine's door. The world cannot just watch as this terrible crisis unfolds. With your support, the Al-Imdad Foundation is delivering emergency relief to the Afghan people. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
With so many investment options today, it's only natural that you might feel a little confused which route to take. Should I buy shares or should I invest in gold bullion? Randery Jewelers now brings you the Zahab coin, an alternative to the Kruger Rand. The Zahab coin, a solid wealth protector in its purest form of 24-karat gold, is the safest way to protect your wealth. So don't just sit there and watch your paper money depreciate. Change to gold. Call Randery Jewelers now at 031 202 4701 or visit www.rjcoin.co.za, situated at 151 Essenwood Road, Musgrave, Durban. Randery Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
Approximately 785 million people in this world do not have access to safe, clean water. In developing countries, around 80% of all illnesses are due to contaminated water and poor sanitation. Don't let dirty water end a life. Build a water well in Bangladesh, Malawi, Nepal, Zimbabwe, or here at home in South Africa. Donate to Penny Appeal's Thirst Relief Project to bring safe, clean water to communities around the world. www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Time is 11:48. You're tuned into the mid-morning talk with me, Fazila Isaac, on Salam Media. Don't forget, you are able to engage with us. Face our online streaming platform, www.salammedia.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are still joined by Victoria Matesky, who is speaking to us about an inspirational journey to accepting Islam. Victoria, we were speaking about the support that you have received from the Muslim community. Tell us about this.
Well, okay, there are so many amazing Muslim communities around the world, and now we're more connected than ever with the being online. And it does, if you're new to Islam, you really do need to reach out and find your community. But just like anything you're investing in, seek recommendations from those that you trust or ask people, because I found some of the most amazing people on my journey were people that were suggested to me and were the least judgmental and the most giving. I studied my faith and took my Shahada in my hometown, Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I took my Shahada at Masjid Al Iman, and it was an Indonesian community. And so here I am, this woman from the West, and I knew no Muslims. They completely embraced me and allowed me to come to their halakas. I never wore hijab. They welcomed me. They really, the sisters and the brothers opened their arms with knowledge and support. And just, it was so incredible. And I think sometimes we forget as a community that there are people out there who are interested in learning more. And we just need to have that more welcome mat out for them so that they don't know where to go. So as soon as we are open with that invitation, people will take it, inshallah.
Subhanallah, I think that is absolutely important, especially for Muslims to understand. Not a lot of people come into Islam with a lot of support from their family. A lot of them, some of them get disowned, unfortunately. You are blessed, absolutely blessed to have children that you have, in that they were able to support you in this way. So it is really important that we all show support, and love, and form a connection, which is something beautiful that you've actually brought to our attention. Victoria, how has this impacted on your professional life? I know you are a Muslim love coach. I absolutely loved it when I saw that Muslim love coach. I was like, yes. So tell us about this. How has it impacted your professional life?
Well, when I was studying Islam and became a Muslim, I had already been an entrepreneur for over 10 years. And at the time I took my Shahada, I was running a very successful photography studio in the USA. And I was well known in my community. And let's just say it was a very bumpy transition. And I lost friends, I lost clients. It took me time to find my ground again and to find my space in the Muslim community, because a lot of people were very fearful that were not Muslim that I had changed. And especially being well known and having a lot of, people in the community watching you when you start wearing hijab or you start sharing Islamic, knowledge or information, it's very frightening to them. So the professional life was bumpy for a while, but let me tell you, as my experiences grew over the last several years, I began to realize I felt more and more drawn to work directly with the Muslim community. And mashallah, we are so diverse as a community all over the world. I had a little bit of imposter syndrome for a while, thinking, I don't know if I can do what a lifelong Muslim could do. But Allah has granted me this capacity and this gift of this experience in my life to really share it with Muslims. And now that's why I absolutely love what I do as a relationship coach. I had to really pray about it for a while, but I came to the conclusion that I could only exclusively work with Muslims, because I love being in a space where I do not need to pretend. I do not need to hide my faith. I don't need to shadow it. It is full and out and bright and light. And I get to share that with my clients as well, which alhamdulillah, I never could imagine 6 years ago when I took my Shahada that I would be working and living every day as a Muslim in a space that I could be me, which is amazing.
That is beautiful. Tell us about Tea for Two. What is that about?
Oh, Tea for Two. So my husband, mashallah, Taf, he is also a certified relationship coach. And we were not coaches when we met many years ago, but alhamdulillah, we have a beautiful love story. It's a long love story, but I won't go into it. But we went on this journey of both coming into healing and creating a relationship that was so incredible that we, even on our honeymoon in Spain, we sat and said, we should write a book on how other Muslims can have this love. Because we, coming from divorce and a background that was really painful, we saw so much pain in the ummah. So we decided to embark on becoming certified, learning everything we could about coaching and facilitating this, and we began a T for Two. So T for Two, we our motto is to create, cultivate, and celebrate love for all Muslims. We work with single Muslims, married couples. It literally, my job feels so fulfilling. It is just attached to my purpose, and we love what we do. We don't. It doesn't feel like work to us, which is, alhamdulillah, it's amazing.
You know what? Everything that I'm in awe. I'm tingling because it is so, like, even saying it's inspirational is no way close to how I really feel about your story. It's absolutely beautiful. And the fact that you're not just keeping all of this to yourself, you're actually spreading it through your business. You've taken Islam, you've accepted it wholeheartedly, and now you are spreading that love that you have inside, which is, oh, it's absolutely phenomenal. Really, really, really great. Which brings me to the next question. What is it about Islam that takes you to your best positive space?
Wow, it's a beautiful question. So, one thing that I found about Islam is that it offered this holistic approach to life that I did not find in my previous religions that I had practiced or believed in. And it's allowed me to be my best in all categories, not just one, especially my body, my intellect, my career, how I interact with people. It feels incredibly rewarding that the smallest action, that even moving a rock out of a pathway so someone doesn't trip, that I can be rewarded for. It really creates your life around this idea that everything is meaningful. And so that constantly pushes me to be a better person, to show up and be who Allah has created me to be. And it literally, it's life changing when you finally can understand that as a believer. It transforms every category. You cannot, Islam is holistic. It's so beautiful. So for me, that is how I see my faith. It's beautiful.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. And tell me, being revert to Islam, what is the best way and the most effective way that we can actually invite other people into the deen?
Okay, so I've studied dawah quite a bit, but I truly believe the best dawah or invitation that we can give others to our faith is by leading by example.
Mm,
Guidance is most powerful when it comes from a place of inspiration, not force, and
mm,
or harshness or fear. And believe me, as I began to study my faith for almost a year before I took Shahada, if I had not encountered those Muslims who were so loving and accepting
mm,
and teaching me by example, I don't believe I ever would have entered the faith.
mm.
For me it was so profound.
Lovely. Victoria, we have unfortunately come to the end of our segment. It was really, really great speaking to you. Quite an inspiration. I do wish you and your family everything of the best. With everyone that has come into contact with you, I think everyone feels, the passion that you have, not just for Islam, but the beauty that comes from inside. You are spreading it to everyone around you, which is absolutely fantastic. I am so honored to have spoken to you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Jazakallah khair. I truly appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
That was Victoria Matesky. Beautiful story of her journey to Islam. You are able to catch her on our YouTube channel as well for any repeats, as well as the Facebook post that we have where you are able to hear her beautiful story to coming into being. Alhamdulillah, what a blessing. The time is now 11:57. We're going to take a quick ad break. When we come back, Islamic Care Line. Stay tuned.